Hello and welcome back to the Volkswagen channel, and welcome to the third video on my new daily driver, this 2018 7.5 GTI Performance that was imported to the UK from Hong Kong by its previous owner. In episode 1, I collected the car, I gave you a tour of it and drove it back home with a number of faults outstanding. In episode 2, I revealed that the car had been fitted with a nasty mileage blocker. I showed you how to check your car to see if your car had one fitted and also how to remove it. In today's video, I'm going to go through all the work that I've done since I bought the car just over 2 weeks ago. That involves changing bits to make it more to my taste, but also fixing a number of problems, one of which was the mileage. And then we're going to take it for its annual UK roadworthiness inspection, the MOT. But before we get started, let me just remind you guys how you can support the channel. As ever, the easiest way is simply to subscribe, but another way that can benefit you as well as me is to let me buy your interesting Volkswagen Group vehicle. I'm really short of stock now and I need to restock for January, and I'm working over Christmas as well. So if you've got an interesting Volkswagen Group vehicle, full service history, average mileage or below, really good condition, and ideally unmodified, but doesn't have to be completely unmodified, it just makes it easier to warranty the car, then get in touch with me directly, andrew@volkswizard.co.uk. You'll only be dealing with me from beginning to end. Payment will come from me. I'll view the car, and in most cases I'll collect it as well. So yeah, get in touch. Okay, let's start off then with the changes I've made on the outside. Now, if you watched episode 2, you'll have seen that the black noise speed sticker from episode 1 had gone, and that's because I'm a bit too old to have stickers on the side of my car, and if I ever do buy an Edition 50, that decal will be coming off that as well. Another reason I took it off was because it said noise speed and I couldn't find anything on the car related to noise speed. But shout out to Jamie Anton, who commented on the first video and said that the body styling bits, the wing and the sills, were made by a company called iSweep, a high quality Japanese manufacturer, and they're usually distributed by, I think, the American firm Noise Speed. Also, very interestingly, he said they make a front splitter that's normally matched to the rest of the kit, which makes sense because the front is really boring normal GTI, and then from the back of the front wheel it's quite a lot beefier. He says that he thinks a UK winter would batter that front splitter, so maybe that's why it wasn't fitted. Also, the car's quite low, so that would mean that it was very vulnerable to damage. But yeah, I mean, looks wise I can live with it as it is. A bigger concern is that by putting that big wing on the back, you're increasing the downforce on the rear axle, which might be at the expense of the front axle. So at speed, you might find that the rear compresses with downforce. The front has more lift than usual, making it a bit hairy on the Autobahn. Well, there's only one way to find out. I will volunteer to take the car to Germany and see what happens at speed. It's probably a bit safer than finding out at Bedford Autodrome where there's a big grassy bank in front of you. So that's one for the future. Little change is that I've got rid of the number plates. I really hate busy number plates. It had a GB sticker on it, which it's out of date anyway, it should be UK. It had a border around it. Instead, I put my very plain Volkswagen branded number plates. Also, eagle-eyed viewers might have noticed in episode 1 that the car had little blocks on the tyre valves, and they were tyre pressure monitoring transmitters that talk to some control unit somewhere, which I didn't have. They're pretty cool, but I'm quite happy to check my tyre pressures regularly myself, and I just like my valves to be simple plastic affairs like that. I've had alloy valve caps on cars and they corrode to the valve and you can't get them off, so that's perfectly fine by me. The wheels, right, well, as you can see, my plans to change them urgently because we're on semi-slicks in the middle of winter have failed because the 19-inch Fox racing wheels that I had in stock don't clear the caliper, because it's a massive 6-pot Brembo. They're close, but yeah, they were making contact, so there was no chance they were going to go on. So that means that I'm still running these wheels. I like the wheels. I don't like the rubber protector on there. I think it looks really stupid. And I'm not a big fan of these tyres on the road for obvious reasons. So I'm thinking I get another set of wheels for some good performance road tyres and keep these for the track, or maybe keep these for the road. I don't know, but whatever I do, I don't want 19s and I don't want a heavy wheel. So I'm thinking Racing Line Cup wheel. There's an Evo version now, it looks really cool. They do it in a grey, which is a bit lighter than this, which is more to my taste. The bronze is lovely, but I just want to keep this car relatively low key, so that's a plan for the future. if I'm still alive, driving on these tyres in all the rain that we've had recently. And finally, onto the boot struts. Now, I think I mentioned these in episode 1, because they look different. I didn't realise they were ECS tuning hatch pop things, struts. The reason why people fit them is for this. Ta-da! It's almost like a power tailgate, isn't it? But when you try and shut it, you realise it ain't a power tailgate. It takes a lot of effort. So, yay, we got there. So yeah, they're okay, but honestly, they're more of a pain than they are a pleasure. And there's always a possibility that you'll pop the hatch up when you're really close to a wall, because, as you'll see now, it does come out, yeah, quite a bit from the bumper edge. Right, now, let me show you what I've done inside. Okay, it's looking a little bit more standard in here now, so that funny mount there has gone. Now, once again, big thanks to MQB MVP, who commented on the first video saying that this mount is one that's from a company called Cobb Tuning. It's called the Cobb Access Port that fits on there, but I didn't get that with the car, so it's pretty academic. He gave a number of options when it came to who tuned the car that Cobb work with, so it's probably not racing line if it had this thing fitted here. Yeah, one day maybe we will find out. I've got rid of the 3D floor mats. They look good, they go up, so they're really good for spills and stuff like that, but they just ruined the ambience of the cabin. They look like a public toilet, if you know what I mean, something you could hose down. These aren't brilliant, and I'd actually be quite happy with some TCR red stripe floor mats, or I might get some custom ones made with a bit of colour, but these will do for now. Under here, which I can't lift up now for some reason, I found this, which is a genuine ashtray for 7.5. It's got the same part number, and in here were some bits and pieces like the locking wheelbot key for the raised wheels, very useful, and some Allen keys, which it turns out were also needed for something on the car. I'll show you later. This is a good one. Now, it took me a few days to notice this, but this bit of the door card was all like, looked like it had been crushed. I was like, Christ, you know, how am I going to fix that? These are really hard door cards to get. And then I looked more closely and was like, hang on a minute, is something stuck on here? And lo and behold, the bottom of the door card, the pocket area, was covered in a film that looked like the original finish, which turns out is on all of the doors. I mean, look at that. It looks like it's just delaminating like it would do on a really old car. But under there is the original door card, and this film is a protective film. It's on all the doors, obviously not on the driver's one anymore. So yeah, that was quite an easy fix. And finally, I fitted my stainless dead pedal, which was living in my Octavia. It looked a bit incongruous in a diesel estate car. It looks much better in this. Okay, now let me show you what I found under the bonnet. It's one of those cars. It's a gift that keeps on giving. Every time you sort of undo something, you find something that you didn't expect to be there. I mean, there's actually something in the inside as well that was a bit of a surprise. Down here, there's something that says power control module. Well, that could be anything, couldn't it? It turns out that is for the dash cams to work when the car's parked. Pretty handy. Okay, so under the bonnet, I did an oil change, which by the way was really straightforward, as it is on all the A888 Gen 3s. Don't take the under tray off. Filters there, get a new plastic sump plug. We can run 540 oil in this engine because it's not an OPF car. Yeah, super happy with that. Look at that. Then I was like, right, red coils, okay. Why has it got red coils? And then I saw they say APR on them, so they're clearly upgraded coils, which is probably a good idea with cars running more power. Speaking of oil changes, I do need to change the VAQ diff oil because well, there's no record of it during the time the car was in the UK. We'll come back to that in a sec. I forgot to mention another fault, which was, yeah, a bit terrifying. I'd get in the car and it said coolant level low. The first time it did that, obviously I'm thinking it's the thermostat water pump housing, but you need to look at the tank before you poo your pants. And I looked at the tank was fine. So it did what they've been doing on Mark IVs for decades. When it warms up, the level goes up and the warning goes off. So it needed a new tank. So I bought this one from, I think it was Febby Bilstein, £21 delivered from Parts in Motion. It's been perfect. I didn't realise they still did that. So that's much better than doing the thermostat housing for about £1,000. Also, take note, we don't have a warning about the car not being in park. That is sorted, and I think that was me, because when I look at the video from when I collected the car, it was locked, and you can't lock the car if it's not in park. So I must have buggered something up when I tried to enable the cruise control, which we'll talk about later, and messed it up. I think I said it was an Audi, not a Volkswagen, in the coding for something, and that might have confused it. Anyway, that works perfectly fine now. Let's talk about the exhaust then. So it's X-Force, and it's got remote controlled valving. Now I think I said initially it was pretty hard to tell, but even static now I think it's pretty easy. I think the way we're parked it will help. By the way, I'm really getting to enjoy keyless. Let's just hope nobody steals the car. Okay, so we have two buttons. I remember these by thinking A is for ASBO and B is for boring, so it should be in boring now. You can hear the valve squeal and it gets deeper. Then if we go into boring, you can hear it squeal again. It's definitely louder than stock, but I'm quite happy with that. I think it's just below being annoying. What's it like on the motorway? It's still a bit noisy, I suppose, but it will do for now, so that's pretty cool. Oh, we'll do another video when I demonstrate this car's dynamic performance. What is really interesting is that if you're in the normal mode, when it comes on boost, it makes a crazy Darth Vader noise out the exhaust. But if you go into ASBO mode, it doesn't do that. So clearly the valve is causing back pressure that's making that noise. Now when I put the car in for the Stealth rolling road session at Stealth Racing down the road on the 19th of January, I mentioned that to Vince and he said, has he got a valved exhaust? I don't think he said anything else. He didn't need to, because I went left there, put it into ASBO mode, and that noise had stopped. So I think when I've had cars with valves before, they're from the factory and they naturally open when the car is wide open throttle. But with this car, the valves aren't actually connected to the ECU, so it doesn't do that, and that's why you need to do that. Yeah, it doesn't sound healthy, that Darth Vader noise. It's kind of cool initially, but it definitely sounds a lot happier with the valves open, but quite a lot louder as well. Now, let's talk about the KW coilovers, because this is quite interesting. And it's a lesson in not making assumptions. Now, there's a good friend of mine, I won't mention his name, I showed him a picture, I think, of the underside of the car, and he said, oh look, it's got DCC because it's got the cables. So I immediately thought that if you're going to have DCC on your car, you would fit KW BDC suspension, which has the switchable modes. And guess what? It doesn't. And initially I was disappointed, but then when I realised what it did have and what I could do with what we have got, I was actually over the moon. It turns out, can you guess? It's still KWs, but it's KW variant 3s. So that means they're three-way adjustable suspension ride height, bump, so compression, and we have rebound as well. And what is pretty cool on the Golf, maybe on other cars as well, you can actually adjust the rebound with an Allen key through the mesh in the scuttle cover. Now, there is a proper tool, but the one you get with the car, which was actually in the ashtray in the centre console, is too short for this, but there is a longer version you get, which I'll probably get in time. But for now, these Allen keys are pretty cool. I put some tape around them so they don't actually fall through the hole. So I'm currently playing with that for two reasons. One, to get the car how I want it on the road, and once it's set, I'll make a note of the settings and it will always be fine, because then I'm going to change it for the track as well. There's a brilliant suspension secrets video that tells you all the difference of rebound and bump and how that affects understeer and oversteer. So I'm looking forward to having a fiddle with those. The underneath one, which is the bump compression, you can get to, I think, with the wheels on full lock or lying on your back, but you don't have to take the wheel off, so something to do in the pits or the garage is at a track day. But the other reason I'm messing around with it is because I think there is a direct link between one of the settings and how much this rattles. I thought it was a bit too soft, the spring was a bit loose in its mountings, that's why it was making that noise. I firmed them up a bit and lo and behold, it's better, but it's still not perfect. So I think I need to get that strut off the car. I've been trying to avoid doing that, but I think I need to do that. I've now got the 21mm socket, which you need for the top nut because it's 19 from the factory one I already had. So yeah, it's better now, but is it good enough to pass the MOT? Well, there's only one way to find out. We're going to take it for the MOT towards the end of the video. This came up on me by surprise because it must have had 2 weeks MOT when I bought it, and with the mileage issue, I didn't want this year's MOT to have the wrong mileage on it, so I had to get that sorted. I thought I was going to have to go to a mileage correction service, but in the end I went to a trusted old Volkswagen specialist. So I'll show you the whole story right now. Okay, so in episode 2 I said I would have to use a mileage correction service to get the mileage corrected, but I remembered that retrofit people swap clusters, like they might put a digital cluster into a Mark 7 Golf, and they have a legitimate reason to roll mileages forward. So I thought I'd try Alex at VW Retrofit in Redditch, who I've used before, and he said no problem, he could do it, but he wants the cluster out of the car, and he said the best source of the correct mileage, because there are a few different places you can get it, it's all slightly different by a very small fraction. He said transmission mileage, so I'm reading that now so I can tell him what to convert it to. It's 33,827.2 kilometres. So with that noted now, I can take the cluster out and go and deliver it to Alex tomorrow.
You've arrived at your destination.
Okay, about an hour has passed and I'm collected the clocks from Alex at VW Retrofit. Check out their website there. Need any retrofit work doing. Big respect to Alex because he won't wind back the mileage on cars like some people do. He'll only help you put the mileage right, which I massively respect. So let's get back and get them fitted. Okay, so the clocks are back in, dashboard's all back in, and the mileage now is 21,021, which is a lot more believable, but it's still super low for a UK 7.5 GTI performance, but pretty typical of a car that's lived in Hong Kong where there's nowhere to go as such. Right now, we need to get the car MOT'd. I didn't realise when I bought it that it was such a short MOT, but it's neither here nor there. The car's got to be road legal if I'm going to use it anyway. So let's keep our fingers crossed that the car will pass and there aren't any modifications that will throw a curveball, because it is now my daily driver, and if it fails then I'm in a bit of trouble. Okay, the MOT has now been done. Big thanks to the guys here at Pro Tyre in Warwick. I use 3 different MOT places. I've got no preference, it's just which ones can get me in the soonest, and it was only 35 quid here. And we have passed. We don't even have any advisories. Now, that's not normally surprising for a 7.5, even a high mileage one, but because this car's been modified, there was always a risk that something had been changed. It wasn't as good as the original factory part and it failed sooner. Okay, now let's talk about my future plans with the Hong Kong GTI. The most important thing is that it becomes an easy to live with daily driver. A normal 7.5 GTI performance would be pretty much perfect in that role, but this isn't a normal car. It's been modified, it's been made more of a track car. The question is there enough daily usability in it with the components that have now been fitted to it? Well, I think KWV3 actually can be made quite soft. At the moment I'm making it stiffer at the front to try and see if that affects the rattle, which it does seem to improve. But once that's fixed, this really isn't a fix. You shouldn't have to stiffen your coilover to stop it rattling. So once that's fixed, I can make it soft. I think the ride quality will be perfectly fine. It doesn't seem too bad on fuel, but some normal tyres should improve that because semi-slicks aren't very good. It's the 5-door, it's got heated seats, it's got CarPlay. I've even got a sunroof. Let's just hope it doesn't break. I think fitting coilovers and making them stiff is probably a recipe for breaking that. So we'll see how we get on with that. I've always wanted to fix one, but not maybe on a car that I'm selling because it takes a long time. I need to get a spare wheel and toolkit because a daily driver needs to have that, and the 7.5 should have it, but for Hong Kong they didn't fit them. I've spoken to Alex at VW Retrofit about cruise control because that's important for a daily driver as well. I'm not going to compromise and just get these normal cruise control buttons working. I've got some switches from a GTD. Actually, I bought a GTD steering wheel. It's actually cheaper. I'm going to swap the switches over for these. That will give us the adaptive cruise switches. And then between me and Alex, we're going to fit the radar, wire it in, code it, and that should be working like a UK car, even with front assist. I am planning to drive it a lot on track during 2026 on some new circuits, so that'll be a lot of fun. The Club Sport S, it's a great car, but I really don't want to risk that car on circuits I don't know with other nutters. It's still a valuable car, and I love it, but it's not as precious or valuable as a Club Sport S. I could buy another one of these and swap all the bits over to it, no problem. I think that is it. Any questions though, let me know in the comments. I do read them all. I do try and reply to all of them as well. So yeah, I appreciate you commenting because there's been quite a lot of great comments on the videos on this car. I hope you're having a good build up to Christmas, and as a little present for you guys, well, it's a present for me as well that you're watching my videos. On Christmas Day, I'll be finally releasing the Club Sport 8.5 video that Volkswagen loaned me the press car for. I think it was about a month ago, so at some point in November, so keep a lookout for that. And yeah, thanks for all your support.